Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Conrad, and how are you, buddy? We're live tonight on Podbean, as long as the connection works. Today is Monday, August 8th, 2022, the year of our Lord. And if you're watching this, you found Con Radio YouTube channel. Thank you for subscribing. And if you're just listening, you found Con Radio on all of the podcast platforms. So just hit subscribe. It's free. If you want to support the show, go to Patreon. Very simple. All you have to do is find the website Patreon and /Con Radio, and the hundreds of episodes are there, and you can listen to all of them with your friends or your family, and maybe play them at church, dude, depending on which one it is, and what church you go to. So consider it. That helps. Any little bit, any congregation that you can share this episode to, or any of the other episodes, is going to help out. So if you want to share it to a church, I applaud it, dude. And I might have to go to church. I enjoy the Lord, and sometimes you do stuff where you feel like you got to go. Sometimes you get in trouble with the law, or you beat up a stranger, or back in the day, maybe like in the 50s, you'd kick a baby or something. I haven't done any of that, but I made a horrible decision today, and I've made it before, but you'd think you'd learn from it. That's the thing. You'd think that you would learn from your past, not repeat it. That's not the case, dude. What happened is, recently, instead of watching the My Pillow station, Fox and Friends, where they just sell my slippers and my pillows and Balance of Nature gummies in the morning, instead of watching that, I've transitioned into watching CNN in the morning with it's like Pepper Poppy, and her friend. And it's more casual. It's a lot like, they don't sit at a desk where you don't see their leg, like they're back. They're still in a newsroom, but they're casual about it. Like, this news is bad, but we're going to say it in a real casual way. And I enjoy their outfits, and they always wear a lot of turtlenecks. And I like that, because it's 150 degrees and the whole planet's melting, but not in that studio. It is cold. And so I was watching CNN this morning, and it was just a lazy morning, to be quite honest with you. My wife and I stayed up way too late. We tried to get the kids back to bed because school's getting ready to start for us this week. A lot of people don't have to go to school this week, but my kids do. And my kids have used the summer to completely abandon any kind of sleep normalcy. They've used this summer to be like, to explore their, independence when it comes to what time they go to bed. And we've allowed it because there was really no consequence, I guess, as far as, well, we ain't got much going on the next day, or they don't have much going on the next day, so it didn't really matter. And I think a lot of times both my wife and I felt guilty that we make them travel so much with us in between Oklahoma and Kansas, that we give them a longer leash when it comes to bedtime, or maybe I do that. But anyways, we tried to get them to bed last night basically in bed at 8:30, hoping they'd be asleep by 9. And my daughter poked her little The Shining face into the doorway of the bedroom at 10:15. Like, she's still up. My son was texting me at 10:30, Dad, I can't sleep. So it didn't work, and I'm hoping that it works tonight. But because of that, and because it was just such a crazy, I think I melted a little bit this weekend, and so did my wife, when we were working in Wichita doing some landscaping, and the sun was so hot that I think it partially melted some of my brain, and it melted a lot of my attitude, to be honest with you. And so instead of getting up and like attacking the day, I was just lounging this morning. I couldn't even really find the energy to do it. And, it's like you hit a wall. So we were just lounging around, and I was watching CNN, and the commercial that CNN likes to continue to play is a commercial for Golden Corral. Oh. And in this commercial for Golden Corral, there's buffalo wings, there is, a delicious steak that's being grilled, medium rare, whatever. I mean, you can get it medium if you want it, buddy. What you want it well done? Perfect. This is Golden Corral. We know steak, dude. And it played it enough. Golden Corral, I don't know how many locations you have, but Golden Corral has mastered marketing when it comes to, especially television marketing. They have mastered it. Because here's the thing. We've all been to Golden Corral. We know what you feel like if you eat at a Golden Corral. You feel like utter S-H-I-T. You feel like utter S-H-I-T after you eat at a Golden Corral. But that commercial, it's like, God, I didn't know they had buffalo wings. Buffalo wings now, if you want to go eat buffalo wings, you got to take out a loan. You got to get a personal loan. Maybe if you're a veteran, you can get a good rate. But if you want to afford 8 buffalo wings, you better have like at least 2 or 3 Bitcoin. You better be backed by Bitcoin. And so I don't get a lot of buffalo wings, even though I like them. And I saw Golden Corral was doing it, and I did the math in my head. It's about, $10 a person. I can eat as many buffalo wings as I want. I haven't had a buffalo wing in a long time. Not even doing the math, not even doing the real math, the human math of that ain't going to taste good, and you're going to eat other stuff there, and there's other people there, and it's Golden Corral, so those people aren't even human. These are all the people that Will Smith would come back and shoot with his alien gun. That's who goes to Golden Corral. They're aliens, bud. And so, but it didn't matter. I was watching CNN. It was the 3rd time the Golden Corral commercial came on. And as a lark, as a joke, I tossed out, I'm going to go to Golden Corral today. And unfortunately, it was one of the few times, the rare times that my wife was listening. And she said, "You're going to go to Golden Corral? I used to love that place." And now in my head, I'm like reeling. And I even told her, I told her outright, I said, I didn't know that I'd have to take you guys to Golden Corral. I was going to go get Shannon, because when you go to Golden Corral, it is not normal. Something abnormal will happen to you. And the last time I went, I talked about it on our show. And there was an old man that was sitting across from me at a different table, but at Golden Corral, they really corral you in there, okay? And so he was sitting across from me at a different table, and he was laughing at me. And he had to have been, I don't know what the record is, dude, but he had to have been nominated for World's Oldest Man. This dude was old. Think of the oldest person you know. That's who it is, dude. And so when I was sitting there eating, this old man was laughing at me. And then he pointed at me like E.T. pointed at me. I see you. I see you. Dude, I didn't sleep for a long time. I didn't sleep right for a long time. I see you. I see you. What? And that's Golden Corral. And you feel bad when you eat their food. Nothing's good. Every once in a while, they'll get the grill going and you'll get a pork chop or something that's edible. And the pizza is some of the worst frozen pizza on the market, but it's all right, because it's still pizza. So what it became was like a joke between my wife and I today, where she didn't have any lessons today, and Shannon and I have an interview with another podcast in a couple days, and I'm trying to set up things a little bit differently moving forward, which really hasn't changed for any of you people that have been listening to the shows forever. Con Radio will just operate as usual with everything that that we do going into this feed. But, you know, with Casey doing Monday morning papers and me doing these solo shows and Shannon and I doing stuff, it's like I got to brand those things as their own thing and then have them all kind of filter back to Con Radio. That's the plan, right? So I'm going to try to start, I don't know what I'm going to call this show. I even thought about just calling it the Connie G Show again when it's just me. And then when me and Shannon are together doing the OK Taco show, and then when we're all together on Fridays when we do that show, those guys from Wichita, but having those go out as their own feeds, and then having Monday morning papers go out, and then also taking those files and putting them on Con Radio. So anyways, that's, I don't know why I had to throw that in there, but I've been thinking about it a lot, and so it was a joke because I knew that I didn't have to go get Shannon, and I was kind of thinking about restructuring all of this stuff, and I got to reset up some new feeds to sit out to iTunes and stuff for all these different shows that we do. And so I was going to talk to Shannon about that today, and I thought if we went to Golden Corral, it'd be a great place to have a little business meeting about it. But I just texted him and said, sorry, dude, I'm not coming over. I'll come over tomorrow. And that was pretty much it. I got to go to Oklahoma City. And the reason I had to go to Oklahoma City was to go to Golden Corral with my family. Because once it was mentioned, both of my children, my son is almost 10 years old, which is hard to believe. He wasn't even born when I started podcasting. You know, a lot of that was due to the fact that my wife and I had not had a lot of relationship in an intimate way. But once we learned how to do that, we had two beautiful kids. And I talked about all that throughout the history of this podcast. You've got to hear stories about me being a dumb dad and, you know, my two water-headed kids. But one thing I've neglected, one of the many things I've neglected probably, I had never taken my children to a Golden Corral. And that's a damn shame, dude. And so the kids were like they always are. What are we doing today? What's going on? What do you want to do today, Dad? What do you want to do? You know, and part of me wants to like smack them upside the back of the head and be like, I want to work, dude. You know, I want to make a living for us. But then the other part is, you know what? I want to take you guys on an experience. I want to take you on an adventure. I want to take you to Golden Corral. That's what we're doing today. That's our big day. And they're like, what is Golden Corral? You know, they're excited. Heather starts hinting like, yeah, they have a chocolate fountain. And I'd seen the commercials like, oh, they got all the buffalo wings you can eat. You know, they got steak. They got everything. And we're talking it up like this is a good place, which was dumb. But we also wanted it to be fun for them because it doesn't really matter. And so the whole morning we're talking it up. And go on my jog, I get back, I jump in the shower, it's time to go. Now, as I'm leaving, I'm like, oh, wait, don't forget, you're still an adult. You know, you can't just go on a random Golden Corral run. You have to get something done. And so I said, I still have an expired driver's license, you know, and I also still have a bunch of returns and stuff that I got on Amazon and stuff that I got to return because I ordered that carburetor. You know, I was talking to you guys about my broken down mower. I got a bunch of stuff that I got to return because it was either wrong or I didn't need it. And by the way, I fixed the mower. Which doesn't really fit with this story, but I fixed it. So I said, I'll get all this stuff. We're going to stop in Shawnee on the way because the only time Golden Corral can be edible is if you're extremely hungry. And so when we took off, it was already about noon, and I hadn't eaten breakfast. My wife hadn't eaten breakfast, and the kids had just kind of, you know, ate some cereal, but they were already hungry, ready to eat. And I thought, what we'll do to get ourselves prepared for the GC experience is I'm going to get my license. You know, I'm going to go to the DMV again. Because I went one other time. Since we moved down to Oklahoma, I went to the license place, the DMV, and they wouldn't even see me. I got there at like 1:45, and they weren't taking any more people. It was full. They're like, sorry. And then they have this big kiosk where you check in on, did you check in online? Everything's real aggressive, like the questions are. Did you check in online, idiot? I didn't know that was an option, because the last time I got a driver's license in 2016, online was not available. You guys didn't have this set up, so why would I know to look this up? But then I did look it up when I got there, and it doesn't matter anyways because it's walk-in only. You can't check in online. And so I went over to their kiosk, and it like does this deal where if you're getting a license, you select all these things, and it's like, well, do you want a printed ticket with your number, or do you want us to text you? Be on the text. And I was like, just text me. I don't care, because it's not like, if I know the number, that's all I need to know. It's not like when you walk up to the angry person, that looks like they just ate a bowl of, that's what everybody that works at the DMV looks like. They just ate a bowl of excrement, dude. They just sit there like with their nose kind of curled up, like. And you feel as a customer, dude, I didn't make you work here, and I get it. This job would be awful. You have to repeat yourself over and over. Do you have this? Do you have this? You don't care about any of these people. You hate your job. You hate your life. But I didn't make you work there, dude. And now you look at me like you're just eating a plate of crap every customer, which you are. It's like you're eating at Golden Corral every day, which you are. But when you walk back there, it doesn't matter if it's your number or not. Nobody ever asks, The only time it could be an issue is if you're trying to cut in line and somebody's like, hey, I have the number. But, I got 176, and I'm looking around. I was standing in there because I told the wife, I was like, why don't you guys go over and do some shopping or hang out somewhere as I get this done? And I sat in there for about 30 minutes. They didn't call a number. And there was probably 50 people in front of me. And so screw this, I ain't doing this. So I said, hey, just come get me whenever you are ready and forget about it. I'll get it another time. And she was returning those items at the UPS store, which was in town. And so she got those returned, and she came back over, picked me up. And I was like, yeah, forget about it. And we took off towards Oklahoma City, towards Golden Corral. Oh. And as I'm getting closer to it, that's when I started remembering what happens when you go to a Golden Corral. I started remembering the way you feel after you eat it. I started remembering, and the whole time I'm like, there's so many better places to eat. We could eat so many better places. But I was just telling myself, don't think like that. You're doing this not for the food. You're doing this for the show. You're doing this for the story. You're taking your kids here. You're making them. But you're also going to try to make it real fun for them. Finally, we get there. We get to Golden Corral. And it's 2 p.m. So if you're thinking, is it fresh? You betcha. It's been out since 11, dude. We go in, there's no line. You would think at 2 there's no line, which there wasn't. And we pay, it's $42 for the 4 of us, so not bad. And I'm telling the kids, I'm like, see, it's awesome, isn't it? You go over there, there's a pizza state. But here's what I was thinking in my head. This is awful. Even the Golden Corral in Wichita, where the old man smiled at me and said, I see you, I'm listening, I see you. Even that Golden Corral had like more stations, more food stations. This one, it was half as big. There was no buffalo wings. The grill station, the dude was just making mini cheeseburgers. There was no steaks or pork chops or, whatever other stuff you want to grill. I don't know. But none of that. Everything that Jeff Foxworthy told me on that commercial in the morning when I was laying there about the GC, none of that existed, dude. And the crappiest part is there's a bunch of these in Oklahoma City. And we went to the one that was rated 4.5 stars. 4.5 stars. It's ranked higher than almost every other restaurant in Oklahoma City. It's a 4.5-star restaurant. And if these stars were made of poop, I'd understand it, but they're not, dude. They were made of gold, and I thought I'd trust it, and that was wrong because guess who's voting on it, dude? Oklahomans. And so, but I keep it to myself because I don't want my kids. I'm the one now making this food taste good just by attitude alone. That's what's happening. So my son's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get this fish." I'm like, "Yeah, get it, dude. That's gonna be good." It's not. I know it's not. I took a bite of that fish, and it was not cooked. And it wasn't sushi, buddy. It was fried fish. It was fried carp. And so I go through and get my first plate. Here's a thing you got to do, Oklahoma City, if you're having a buffet. Okay, here's a thing that you should do. Put a label on what people are eating. Now, you might think, oh, I don't got to put a label on pizza. People know that's pizza. Yeah, we do. But when you're going to put liver, you're going to chunk up a bunch of liver and put it in a thing next to a grill. Maybe I think that's teriyaki chicken. Maybe I think that's, maybe I think that is just a little bit of what are they, burnt ends. Maybe it's burnt ends. I don't know. You know why I don't know? Because ain't no damn label on it, buddy. And so when I loaded up my plate with a piece of pizza and what I thought was burnt ends barbecue, and then I take a bite of it and it's liver, and if you think that Golden Corral does a great liver, you're wrong. They don't. Nobody does a great liver. And even if there is somebody that does a great liver, it ain't happening there. That was my first plate. The pizza was standard Golden Corral pizza, but the liver, awful, ruined my stomach, wrecked it. And that's when I started becoming aware of what was going on around me. And that's your biggest fear when you're there. That's your biggest fear, is noticing the other people, noticing the people that work there. In Wichita, everyone that works there has worked there I remember these people when I was a child. My dad used to take us there because it was a cheap way to feed a bunch of laborers, so he would take the whole crew. And I remember in Wichita, meeting people that had just got to America. Whether, I don't know if the governor of Texas shipped them there or what, but they just got there. And I will go there now, and they have kids working there now. Same people, though. They might own it. They might own it for all I know. It's a family-run restaurant there in Wichita. But this one, buddy, all white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, dude, all WASPs working there. And these women that were bussing the tables, my daughter made me notice one of them because she said to the lady, "I like your eyeshadow." And then that's when I made eye contact with this woman. And she didn't have eyebrows. They were painted on. Her eyes shadow she was dressed like Lady Gaga in the face from the Joker music video. From the Poker Face music video. Big eyeshadow. Ridiculous. What are you doing today? I'm working at Golden Corral. Then why are you dressed like Lady Gaga's music video? Dressed like a normal person. You're dressed stupid right now. Nobody says that at Golden Corral. So I couldn't make eye contact with that woman. I just ate some liver. Second plate, I got the fish because my son said it was good. It was not cooked in the middle. The carp was not done. And each bite I took of whatever it was a reminder of the mistake that I'd made by going there. But I tried to keep a positive attitude and be like, whoa, you guys want to get dessert? They didn't have a chocolate fountain. They had some Rice Krispie treats, a few cakes. It's not it was pathetic. If I could use a word, it'd be pathetic of what these people were offering us. There was a man that goes there so often, the Lady Gaga lady, she knew his name. You know, she walked by and he's like, "Oh, is that going to be it today, Patrick? Is that all you're going to have today? Your normal, you didn't have your normal 9 plates. You only had 5 today, you know?" And this man was dressed slacks, a bigger fella, but he was dressed slacks, polo shirt, you know, kind of like, does he work at a furniture store? That's kind of what you're thinking. You get a whole, if you watch the Goldbergs, you got a little bit of a Murray Goldberg vibe. This guy sells furniture for a living, and he's kind of got the lunch break to himself. So he goes over to Golden Corral, and he eats up for $10. And everything made sense except for he's wearing slides, I guess. You know, the sandals that you slide your foot in. Open-toed footwear at a buffet, buddy. So do you want to eat liver while you look at an old man's toes? Guess what? You're here. You can do it. And I did. I sat there and looked at this dude's toes as I'm trying to eat what I thought was a delicious barbecue treat. It was disgusting. I was disgusted. I was sick to my stomach a little bit, but I had to hold it together. And as we're eating, we're talking about, well, what do you want to do today? We could go do something. You know, I can't get my license anymore. So maybe we'll run over to the Science Museum, or maybe we'll run over to the mall and walk around, or we'll go to a thrift store, you know, and get some new shirts, you know. School shop, you know, poor school shopping. And then I noticed a man walking in, and he had a noticeable limp. Like something had happened. And this guy couldn't walk anymore very good. A lot of what he did was fall and then catch himself. That's how he walked. It'd be like if somebody taught you how to walk and the way they taught you was lean your head as far as you can forward, you're going to stumble. That's walking. That's how this guy moved. That's fine. Older guy. Celebrity most resembles is probably that, I'll try to make it, maybe like an older Tracy Morgan. So think about Tracy Morgan and add 15 years from what he is now after the accident. That's this guy. That's fine. I don't know this man. I've never met him. I've never been here, you know, and not to this location. You know, I'm not from here. I'm just visiting, dude. So you know, my kids are chattering away. They're like, "What are you going to get next, Dad? You know, are you going to go up there and get a potato? Or are you going to go up there and get..." And I'm like, into my mind, I'm going, I'm not going to eat any of this stuff. This stuff is awful. It tastes bad. And it's making me feel real sick, guys. And, but they nibble so much that I know that what they're doing is not going to hurt them. You know what I mean? Like if my son had really wanted to finish off a piece of chicken, I'd be like, "Oh, don't eat it to the bone, buddy. Just eat the skin. You can't go too deep in a piece of chicken at a buffet. Surface level only, partner." You know, and he was doing it on his own, so I didn't have to say it. So I'm sitting there. I'm facing my daughter and my wife, two of the most beautiful women in the world. And I'm disgusted by the fact that they're eating this and having a good time. And I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at myself for doing this to them. Like failed. So to avoid any kind of interaction with them or feeling like I'm hurting them by watching them eat this garbage, I turn my butt in my seat to where I'm sitting sideways. I'm facing my son, who is sitting next to me. And because of this, Tracy Morgan notices, and Tracy Morgan looks at me from the other side of the Golden Corral, and he says, "I got in an accident in 1992. I don't know you, dude." He's talking to me. I don't know this man. We're at a Golden Corral. This is a complete stranger that looks like Tracy Morgan, only a little bit older. And he starts talking to me. "I got in an accident in 1992, motorcycle accident. That's why I don't walk so good. I was like, all right, man, yeah, I wasn't going to say anything. I don't know you, you know. There's a lot of monsters around this buffet. You're one of them, but that's fine, dude. I'm here too. We're in this fight together, bud. You know, keep it fam. Keep it 100, dude. But he goes on. Yeah, I got a motorcycle accident. Knocked all my teeth out. I was like, and he didn't have any teeth. He was right. He wasn't lying about it. That was evident. Knocked all my teeth out. Okay, there you go. You know. He said, but I saw that corn on the cob up there, and I wished I could have it. What? None of us were eating corn on the cob at the time. You know, none of us were having it. So it's like, really? Is it real? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go eat it for you, or what? I don't know what you want me to say in this interaction, buddy. But it solidified what always happens to me when I go to, you know, a mass buffet, a Golden Corral. A stranger will talk to you if you go there, or will talk to me. I don't know what it is. I don't usually put off an aura of this guy wants to communicate with me. In any situation, most people don't talk to me. But at a Golden Corral, somebody, and usually the creepiest person in there, will start talking to me. You know, and meanwhile, I'm just trying not to get sick because, like I said, I had a piece of unmarked liver. They didn't tell me it was liver, and that's what I'd ate. And now I'm trying to be cordial to this gentleman who is sharing a horrific accident story with me where he lost his whole mouth and he can't walk anymore. He limps now, like I said. So I lost my appetite pretty quickly. And now I was losing my drive. You know, I was losing my will to breathe, you know. Sometimes you feel like when you're in a certain place, it's like, this must be what it felt like when you were in a trench or something and there was a battle going on, you know, and you felt like you felt like you couldn't make it. That's what it feels like when you're sitting at a Golden Corral and you realize you made a mistake of going there. And this guy limped his way to the buffet line where nothing that was advertised on CNN that morning, nothing that was advertised in the Golden Corral commercial was at this place. But everyone there, all of the people there was people that had breathing machines. There was people that, you know, business people that had briefcases, but the briefcases were like with adult coloring books. Like, there's no real, these are like when Walmart eats is what it should be called. You know, this is the people of Kmart, not even Walmart. And this is where they eat. You know, and not to knock them, but I gotta blame, you know, our media for advertising it the way that they did. I got up, you know, you think that you're kind of evolved because you flicked on CNN and you're watching the world events and you're hearing about these horrific stories that are happening all over the world or all over the country even. You know, this bad thing that's going on in New Mexico with some sort of serial killer out that's hunting Muslims. And it's like, that's bothered me, you know, but then we'll tell you about the serial killer in Albuquerque right after this. And then it flashes to a delicious looking Golden Corral commercial. That's not what happens when you go there. That's not what happens when you go there. When you go there, all the people that used to work or be at Kmart, and sometimes you didn't know which was which when you went to a Kmart. That's why they're out of business. All those people are eating at Golden Corral right now. And they're going to talk to you, dude. So by the time we got done, my son had got an ice cream, my daughter had got some Jello. Like, my daughter loves dessert, and even it had hit her at this point. She's like, I don't want that cookie. She picked it out, but I don't want it. I'm ready to go. You know, so we get back in the car, we leave. But when we leave, it's 3:00 in the afternoon. There's a line. And even worse, there's elderly people. There should be a class action lawsuit. There's elderly people that are eating there. There's elderly people that are eating at Golden Corral. Okay? It's going to hurt these people, dude. It's going to hurt these people. We can't have elderly people eating at a buffet. There's not enough, the FDA can't, or the health department can't monitor what's going on to these people. And even worse than that, there was a gentleman that had to have been in his, probably his lower 80s, I would say. So he was probably born in like 1940, all right? When he was born, nothing existed. And now that he's 80, he has to eat here. And he was getting it to go. Could you imagine? Could you imagine being like, what'd you bring home for dinner? Did you go ahead and get something for dinner? And, some takeout? Yeah, I did. Well, what is it? Is it, just name a restaurant. But one restaurant you wouldn't name is it Golden Corral? I love it. No, you don't. This is going to be bad. This is going to be bad. And he was getting that stuff to go. And I think they weigh it, dude. It's by the pound. So that's sad. So we left. And all of the plans that I had leading up to our adventure there, it was like, no, we're going home. I can't go to a thrift store. I can't go to a science museum. I feel awful now after eating there. And also depressed because they didn't even have what they advertised on the commercial. And also depressed for society because society had given this particular location 4.5 stars. So I'm trying to all these feelings are going through me. Like, am I mad at the restaurant or am I mad at the people who am I mad at myself? Am I mad at myself? And it's a mixture of both, like it always is. But I said, let's go home. And so it's about 45-minute drive home. And if you guys listened to Friday's show, you knew that I ran out of gas by my dad's. And so when we were on our way back, we were going through Shawnee, Oklahoma, and my gas light come on. And I thought, inside me, I wanted to be like, I got 34 miles. I can make it back, which I should be able to. But I was also like, I've also tested this and lost. You know what I mean? I've lost this battle recently. So I pulled off and I started filling up the car at a gas station in Shawnee. And that's when I got the text message that the DMV told me not to sign up for because they said it didn't work. But guess what? I got the text message that said, hey, your number's coming up. Your number's coming up to go get your new driver's license. I said, well, I'm here. I'm in Shawnee. I pulled off to get gas. I'm here. I might as well go over there. So we drove over. My wife threw me out. I walk into the thing, and I got like 3 numbers until my number's up. I'm like, perfect, dude. I'm going to get my driver's license. This isn't a total waste. You know what I mean? I don't have to redo this step in life again. And what was so sad is, as I'm sitting there, I noticed there was a Asian fella that had come in after me, when I was there before we went to the restaurant. And so he had been sitting. Could you imagine? I went and experienced the worst dining experience ever. That was 40 minutes away. I went and experienced that. And this guy, the only thing he got to do was sit in a DMV. That's all he did for those 2.5 hours that we were gone. Not just him, there was an elderly lady that was there, and she was just there because somebody made a mistake on her driver's license. Somebody had put the wrong address on there. And so she just had to get it checked, but she had to wait 2.5 hours to do it, which is crazy, dude. And so I sit down, I got my packet full of, all the stuff that they're going to ask for me to prove that I am me, birth certificate, proof of home, do you have your title or gas bill or whatever. And I'm sitting there and I get my name called, my number called. I go back there, and that's when you meet this guy named, I think his name was Brandon, and he looks as if he's just mad that I'm there. What do you need? I need a driver's license. Got your birth certificate? Yeah. Here it is. And I don't play, there's a lot of people I would hear them as they went in. They play, thank you, sir, I'll be respectful. Yeah, here it is, but I'm not going to sit here and act like this is pleasant for me. You guys, your system's so screwed up. You want people to check in online, but you don't, it's not available. Everything in your propaganda machine out here in the lobby of all these things that you're doing to make this stuff easier, none of this shit works. None of it works. Okay? You guys know it. You guys don't know how to check it. And it's basically the same system that's been going on since, the 60s. And you know it, but you have all this bull crap that says that it's all easier now, which isn't true. It all comes down to you guys have to type in all these forms and make sure that we are who we are based on the same crap we've always had. So all the money that's been pumped in to make this stuff better has just been a waste. And you know it, we know it, and nothing works. So I give him all my stuff, and he's irritated. And then a guy walks in that had left before me. He was the unlucky client that had to deal with this man right before I walked back, which might be why this guy was in such a bad mood. So he, even though his appointment was over, his number was done, he didn't get what he wanted. He come back in. And he's a bigger guy, taller, kind of intimidating fella. And I'm blowing through my test, as far as, do you have your paperwork? I'm with flying colors. I got everything this guy wants, and I'm making it real easy. And I'm not talking. I'm not going to say a word unless he asks me a question, because I don't care. I don't care to be here. This is all BS to me. You don't like that I'm here. We're on the same page. But this guy walks in, he goes, hey, and he just starts over what had already happened that I wasn't in there for. I got a question. So, you do understand that my birth certificate's in Alabama, and I don't come to Oklahoma. This is like the third time I've been to Oklahoma, and I got pulled over yesterday, and I gave my license, and it was out of date, and they told me to come here to fix it because otherwise they're going to impound my car. But then I come here, and you guys say I can't get it fixed because I need this stuff. And the guy's like, yeah, I don't know who you are. I mean, I know your license, but your license is 24 years expired. 24 years. And this guy's like, yeah, but I was in the service. I was overseas for 7 years, which, you don't think about that, but cool. I'm stationed in Alabama. I'm in the service. So this guy has military ID, and the lady's like, well, just because you have a military ID, anybody from any country can have a military ID. It's like, so they're being the same, plate of shit eaters that they are to this guy. But the part that I didn't understand, and they finally said at the end, because they're like, well, just if you have the thing, do you have a passport? Do you have a, no, well, I do, but it's in Alabama too. And they're like, well, what do you want us to do? It's like, well, I don't even live here. It's like, then why are you trying to get your, so, well, the cop told me, you don't need to get a license here, dude. If you live in Alabama, go to Alabama and get your license, bud. And your stuff's there. And he's like, oh, I can go to Alabama and get a license? This is a grown-up, guys. This is a hero, a military hero. They're like, do you live in Alabama? Yeah. They're like, then yeah, you can get a license there. You've lived there for 20 years, dude. You've just been driving. Mine's like 4 months out of date, and I was worried about it. This guy, they didn't even have him, the cop had pulled him over, I guess, and that's what this guy that was doing my paperwork had said. The cop had pulled this guy over, and he's not even, they ran his license, and it's not even in the system. It's so old. Like, they don't even know, this guy has no way to prove that he is a person, and he's just he's just a Nick Sabanite, he's fits that profile. Big military. It's like if you watched the Chris Kyle movie, he's Chris Kyle. Okay, man. Hey, thank you guys. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for giving me thank you for that. I will go down there and I'll get my license in Alabama then. Okay, man. You're not in the, you don't exist, but fine. Because I guess they tried to look him up on their system. Like, we can't do anything, dude. And I know that that's what these people have to deal with over and over again, but, I hope they get paid good. I wish they get paid more. Because maybe then they'd be a little bit happier. They'd be a little happier. Because they are miserable right now. And all the crap that I don't know if it's the government or what, that we've sent to try to modernize the DMV, guys, none of it's worked. It does not work. So instead of send them the money and tell them to throw themselves a birthday party and give each other bonus checks. Because none of the crap that you guys are implementing, because it has to be there's too many levels. If it was totally online, if it's totally easy, if it's totally all this stuff, people would figure out a way to then you'd have fake people running around the country, So it has to be this strict and this way, in which case people are going to be working it and people are going to be miserable. So the only way we can make it better is don't try to modernize it. Give them the best computers out there that they can work with, because this lady was sitting there messing with a fax machine. She's like, my fax machine's broke. I was like, bitch, you don't need a fax machine, girl. Nobody does that, You don't need that. But like, that's how we do it. We get it faxed from over there, and they fax it to me, and I got the fax, and it's not working, so I haven't seen any customers today. And they're sitting there chattering about this other lady that works there. She's only seen 34 today. I've seen 160. You got to pay these performers, dude. You got to pay them some money, because they're everything. You got to have your ID for almost everything. I don't know what, I had to have it to vote, not that I voted, but the one time I did vote, which was a mistake, dude, and my guy didn't win, Kanye West, the one time I did vote, they asked for my ID. And luckily I had it. But even worse than that, for a lot of the jobs that I do, there's a security check, and they have to have your ID, and it has to be valid. And so these people, without them, we couldn't do anything. So pay them what they deserve. I think, what is a fair price? It's 2022, inflation's up. These people should be making probably $260,000 a year base for DMV workers. And guess what? Guess who's happy to go to work now? DMV. Guess what operates better? The DMV. Pay these people, dude. They're mad because they make $27,000 a year, dude. And you put them in this crappy building. Make a DMV nice. Spend the money. Get rid of the tech because they can't use it. Okay? And give these people some damn money. So, I see you. But it's all a simulation, dude. It is. Sometimes you know what's weird is there's glitches. And I'm not trying to be like super conspiracy guy. I think conspiracy theories are fun and a fun way to escape the normalcy of life, or it's always a different angle at the same thing. So I always like conspiracy theories. But the simulation thing, it's fun to be like, this is that, and then just drive around or keep saying people don't, oh, sorry, Steve's on here. They keep saying that people don't want to work, but employers don't want to pay. That's right, Steve. That's what I'm saying. People want to work, but you can't work all day or all week, whenever you get paid. So you get paid weekly or bi-weekly, and then half your check's gone in taxes, the other's gone in your just a normal life, a modest life, you don't got any money left over. And you want to do this crappy job. There's no time to do anything else because you have to be at this crappy job. So eventually you're like, screw it, dude. I'm out. I can't do this job for this money. I'm sacrificing family time, or I'm sacrificing whatever. You're sacrificing a life to pay for a life that's crappy. And then the way you sacrifice it is by going to a job that's crappy and everybody hates you. And then they don't pay you good. And then they want you to be appreciative of your job. Well, that don't work, dude. So, but you got to start looking for glitches, because maybe these people are robots. Maybe this is all, when you're at a Golden Corral, you realize these people are all robots. And there's some truth slinger that's there that notices that I'm noticing it. That's why I always get talked to by these strangers, because they see that I'm looking through the illusion that is this establishment, the illusion that, I can see through it. Like, what are these people? What is going on here? This guy's got flip-flops on at a Golden Corral, and he's got conjunctivitis in his toes. That's disgusting. The biggest point that I can put on the simulation is this. I was on I-35, the corridor, heading home last night. It's probably like 6:30, 7 in the evening. And nobody, I've talked about it a million times, nobody knows how to drive. And, so it's so much of set your cruise control, but then get stuck behind somebody, then that same person passes you and all that stuff. So in the midst of this Mario Kart travel that we were having down the corridor, I passed a car, and that's when I looked in my rearview mirror. It's like, did I really just pass that? Because what I passed on the top said taxi. Like, whoever's building this simulation screwed up. There's no taxi that's running down the corridor. It was like a 2018 Ford Fusion, and on the top it just said taxi. It's like, guys, you messed up. You put the taxi in the wrong place in the video game. The video game called Earth. This isn't, nobody will notice. Nobody will notice that we put the taxi there. I noticed. Guys, taxis, there's no taxis in Kansas. There's no taxis in Oklahoma. I mean, and if there are, they're Dodge Caravans that are like airport taxis. And so unless this person was not aware of all of the different ride share, what are you doing? You booked a taxi to go from you're driving in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma. That's crazy. And it doesn't fit. It's not true. It's not true. That's the part that people don't understand, is it's not true. The video game makers that made this simulation didn't mean to put a taxi on I-35 last night at 7 p.m. They messed up. So you notice little things like that, dude, and it's like, we are in a simulation. We are, because that's not real. It can't be, or what is that story if it is? That has to be a wild story. Like, how'd you get here to Austin? I took a taxi. From where? From Lincoln, Nebraska. What? No, you didn't. It must have cost you more than a car, It's crazy. So, I don't know. Let's see what Steve said for it. All right. I hope this all looks good. I am working on the YouTube page, so I'm trying to focus on that and, use some different products to try to get the best product out there, I guess. Some different apps, some different things. I don't get much internet out here in the shed, so I'm trying to have the best hardware to do this and then post it that way. So I can do the live on the Podbean apparently, but I can't necessarily do live video out here because I don't think I have a strong enough connection. But anyways, thank you guys for listening. Tomorrow we'll be doing the OK Taco show, Shannon and I, and then there might be another Connie G show tomorrow in addition to that, but also Wednesday, looking forward to that. We're going to be part of a podcast called the Black Lincoln Collective. They've invited us on to promote our comedy special that we're releasing on YouTube next month. So we're doing a comedy special. We're hoping, Shannon and I are both hoping that we have participation from all the guys, from those guys from Wichita, and it's going to be something completely different that we've never done before, and it's going to be, we might be able to release it as an audio track in addition to the video that it's going to be, but it's mainly for the YouTube page. And so the Black Lincoln Collective podcast was kind enough to invite us on their show to talk about it. And I listened to a couple of their episodes. A few dudes, they hit some of the topics that we always hit. They talked about hot dogs. They talked about some Netflix shows that they had watched, So they just kind of sit there and do their thing. Pretty funny guys. So if you want to check them out before we go on, we're going to go on there on Wednesday. I don't know when it gets released, but seems like pretty good dudes. And we'll be promoting our show, our comedy special there, but hopefully just getting to panel with them, kind of banter back and forth with them. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to try to start hitting some of these groups a little bit harder with the podcast. If you guys, if you want to help out, you can share the show to some people that are interested in podcasting, maybe join some podcasting groups. I don't know what Reddit is. Apparently Reddit is still available. People use that, so, think about it. But big things coming. But the good thing is everything kind of stays the same if you already know about it. So if you already know about Con Radio, if you already know about our shows and all that we do, then, nothing really changes. And you hopefully just get more, and we get a better product. So with that being said, have an okay day, and don't let your meat loaf.